It's your boy Ricky here with Romero Cards, and it's beginning to look a lot like DieCember all through the crafting world. You're probably not here for singing lessons, and don't worry, I do not provide them. But anyway, I am here to show off some of the products from the latest release from Simon Says Stamps. Simon Says Stamp, their DieCember release. So we're just going to be using a couple new products, a couple old products, and just we're going to see where the wind blows us. But before we get down to look at what we're going to be using, I have a couple things to ask of you. First of all, subscribe to my channel if you're not a subscriber. If you are a subscriber, thank you so much for coming back. Secondly, click that notification bell so that you know a new video has come out. Third, leave a comment down below. I love to have a conversation with my subscribers, and I would really appreciate that. The algorithm picks it up, something like that. I don't know. And then last, if you know or if you feel someone would love to watch this video, send the link over to them so that they can watch this video and possibly subscribe, leave a comment, all the good things. So now that we have that all out of the way, let's look down at the dust to see what we're going to be using today. Alrighty, so from the DieCember release, we're going to be using the Cloud Borders die here. We're also going to be using an older sentiment set from PinkFresh Studios. It's still available on Simon Says Stamps website, so we're going to be using that along with the die plate that comes with that. We're also going to be using an older die set from Simon Says Stamp, which is called A Bunch of Balloons. And then we're going to be using some black and white paper, and then we're going to be using some colored ink here from Concord and 9th, Cranberry, Clementine, Buttercup, Clover, Blueberry, and Fig. So I'm gonna get set up for the first step and I'll be right back. Okay, so the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna cut out some layers of the clouds here. And so we're just gonna take these out of the bag. And what I've done is I've just cut some 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 in half here. And we're just gonna make some layers with the cloud dies. So we'll do like that here. And maybe we'll do, let's do one going this way. And then we'll do one going like this. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut clouds out of 6 different pieces, different ways, and then we'll have different layers of clouds to work with on our card. So I'm going to run this through the die cutting machine and I'll be right back to show you what all these pieces are going to look like. Okay, so we have all of our cloud sections cut out, and this is kind of how I envision it being on the card, you know, once it's on the cloud or on the card base. But the next thing we're going to do is we're going to be doing some ink blending, and we're going to ink blend each one of these with the colors of the rainbow that I had for the Concord and 9th colors. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and get some blending brushes, and then I'll come right back, and then we are going to blend these clouds together. So I'll be right back. Okay, so we're back, and we're going to go ahead and do the red first. Basically, we're going to take the color here. I am going to use a piece of tape here to hold down the piece of paper as I'm doing the ink blending, so that I could actually make sure there are no fingerprints get on this. You know, and we'll go from there. I would use a sticky mat, but I don't want to have to clean the sticky mat every time that I go to switch a color. At least with the glass mat here, I can clean it off real quick and then go to the next color. So we're just going to take some red. We'll tap it off because we don't want it to be super strong. And we're just going to go along the top here. We're not going to color the whole thing. We're just doing the tops of each cloud. Doesn't have to be super detailed, just enough to give it a little bit of shadow of the color. So I think this is perfect, maybe a little bit more here, and that looks great. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to do each layer of the cloud that way with each one of these colors, and then I'll be back to show you what they look like all together. Okay, so here you see all my clouds, and they have been colored, you know, the colors of the rainbow here. The next thing I want to do is take AQUA Sky, and we're going to go ahead and blend this into the card base here. And it's just going to be super light. We kind of want it to look like the sky, you know, like a light blue. It doesn't have to go all the way down onto the card, all the way to the bottom, because the clouds are going to be covering up a lot of it. So I think this looks good. That's a pretty good color for the sky. And so let me get the desk cleaned up and we'll be back for the next step. So what I want to do is glue down each section of the cloud to one another. I'm going to do it in twos because I'm going to do some layering with some foam tape. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to glue down the red balloon to the orange, or I'm sorry, the cloud, not balloon. The balloons are coming later. So we are going to get that glued together. Looks great. All right. That looks great. Alrighty. So there we have our different layers. This is a little off. That's okay, we'll fix it. So now what we're going to do is we are going to use some really thin foam tape here to get this onto the card base. And I'm just going to use these Honeybee Stamps thin strips here. They're super thin. I love them because of that. So we'll glue this first base down. Let's do this again just to get a there. All right, so then we will take these thin strips and we're going to place them onto this piece. And let's get this place onto this card. My head might get in the way because I want to make sure that this is nice and straight. And that looks good. Okay, let me go ahead and clean up the desk and we'll get to the next step. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is the sentiments, and we're going to go ahead and get this paper down onto the MISTI. I do have my Waffle Flower sticky mat here, but I still may add a magnet just to make sure it doesn't move because I'm not very good at keeping my mat clean. So we're going to place, this is the PinkFresh Studios Perfect Sentiments stamp set along with the matching die. And what we're going to do so we're going to go ahead and get this stamped out, but the first thing before we do that, we are going to use an anti-static tool because we're going to be doing some white heat embossing, and we don't want the embossing powder to stick to the cardstock. So we are going to get this nice and dressed up here. And then we'll use some embossing ink here. This stamp set has never been used before, so I'm going to go ahead and rub it down with my hand to make sure it's nice and conditioned. And we're going to get this nice and covered with some embossing ink. It's just a clear ink so that the powder can stick to the paper. And we might have to do this a couple times. You don't want to press too hard. You don't want to smush the sentiments, so you just kind of want to gently touch, and then we'll go in and do it again. Let's see here. I think this is going to look good. All right. All right, looking pretty good. There's a few spots that could use some more here. Here. All right, this looks actually pretty good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the heat gun to this, melt it, and then I'm going to come back and put the dye on it and show you how that's done, and then we'll go from there. So I'll be right back. And we're going to place it down onto the paper here. The paper's a little warped, so I think that's what's causing the issue, but that's okay. We're going to get this to work. We just want to make sure this does not move in the die cutting machine. Alrighty, so we have this taped down. I'm going to run it through the die cutting machine and we'll be right back. Okay, so we have this through the die cutting machine and let's take a look how this came out. Perfect, each one was cut out with the perfect amount of spacing on the outsides. So we'll go ahead and get all these taken out and then we'll move on to the next step. Okay, the next step is we're gonna cut these balloons out, and I'm gonna cut these out about 3 times, and then we are gonna stack them together to be all one set of balloons. So I'm gonna run these through the die cutting machine, get them all glued together, and we'll be right back. Okay everyone, we're on the home stretch now, and we're gonna go ahead and get the card finished. So basically what I want to do is kind of glue down the balloons here. So we are going to use some glue here. All right, so let's go ahead and get this placed down. There we go. And we are going to place a block on top of this to make sure that it stays. So I'm going to be doing sending hugs. And we are going to get this glued down to the balloon. I did put some foam tape on the back so that'll hold it along the sides. And we're going to put it about right here. We want to make sure this is straight. That looks good. And there we have the completed card, you guys. This is so pretty. I love the rainbow color look, just how the white cloud or the white balloons are just stuck to the sky, and then just sending this little, you know, simple sentiment. So, and I'll show it to you this way as well, so that you could see it in all that its glory. And there we go. So I want to thank you guys so much for watching this video. I truly appreciate it. Take a look down in the description for all the products that I used. And thank you so much to Simon Says Stamp for sending over a few of the DieCember sets from this release. Be sure to check out simonsaysstamp.com for all the latest releases. And I will talk with you soon. Have a great day. Bye.